guys, welcome to the 304 podcast. This is the first in a series of 4 where we sat down with Jess to answer the 8 most asked questions on Twitter.
Let's kick this off then. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your backgrounds?
Okay, so my name's David. I'm the co-founder along with Sean. I run the creative side, brand, marketing. I went to university at Liverpool, studied architecture for 3 years, then went straight into a job working as a space designer, where I predominantly did like interior designs and mood boards and presentation for work, and that was when I moved into apartment 304 with Sean.
Sean?
Sean Cotter, 34. I'm the director of operations and co-founder. My background has nothing to do with fashion whatsoever. A bit similar to David. I did previous life. I was a scientist, did biochemistry at uni. Went on to do a PhD in biology. So I was there for 8 years. That's where I met David. I then worked for an American company in Manchester for 6 years, like a medical company. They were manufacturing hospital tests, and actually worked in operations, sort of working on manufacturing and getting the product from sort of concept out the door. So that's where I learned a lot of my skills, and that's why I took on more of the day-to-day running of the operations.
Right. So how did and why did 304 start? What made you start a clothing brand?
That was mainly through initially boredom. Myself, Sean and Joe at the time used to live in apartment 304 in Manchester, and after work we had no internet, nothing to do pretty much after we went to the gym. That was all we did. So we started just thinking, what can we do to fill our time in the evenings after finishing university and having quite a lot of spare time in the evenings. And it just came from that really, the lack of money, boredom.
Yeah, we were looking for a little schemes, weren't we? I think.
Yeah.
I was buying stuff from TK Maxx and selling it on eBay for about £2 profit. I go. Learned pretty quickly. There wasn't much scale in that. And then I'm not sure if you remember this one. We were coming up with a scheme, like a betting scheme, of like we're going to bet on Man U and City every week.
yeah.
See if,
£50 a week.
So we were just like looking for anything to earn a bit of extra money. We've both been at uni for a long time, living the dream, and then obviously getting a job is a bit of a shock. Getting in the office.
Yeah.
So when did 304 actually start, and what were the early days like in building a brand?
6 years ago it started initially. I think the first thing I remember was sitting on Tumblr, which is like one of the first ever social media channels we used to use or have a look on.
Yeah.
And there was a vest that said chocolate on it. It said Loco inside it, and we just liked how it looked, wasn't it? It was like the typography, text on the logo in a different colour. And we just thought, oh, can we make that vest? Couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. It wasn't as easy as now, where if you see something on ASOS, you can just find it using the apps or whatever like that. So we just thought, we'll try and make one using the sort of creative skills that I had from university. And I think Joe went down the Altrincham market and bought some felt. Fuzzy felt. We went to H&M, bought a vest, and started like stenciling letters, and Shawnee was ironing them on after work.
Yeah, my job was T-Boyd style. There was only 2 jobs, so I had to sort of keep the troops happy. The early days is mainly cutting out letters, ironing them on. We could probably make about 2 products a night.
Yeah.
So literally come make whatever orders we had.
Yeah.
They were probably fun days though, weren't they?
Yeah. When it first started, it was a case of making something without the thought process of, oh, we're going to sell this to whoever wants it, a consumer or customer or whatever. It was just, we made vests for ourselves for Part of Life Festival.
Yeah, so like a hobby. It was sort of a sideline. So what made you take it from a hobby into a business and a brand?
I think we always wanted it to be a proper business, but it's the scale wasn't there to start with.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just like a slow process of bit by bit. We sort of built on how we could scale the business up. Obviously, the first step was like, we can't be hand making stuff. One, it takes too long. 2, there's only so many times you go to H&M and buy out all the sweaters that we had in there. And then we started sort of printing in Manchester, and we started like printing like 50
I think it was like 50. The print house in Manchester was like, you got to print 50 of whatever design you wanted. So that was our next step in terms of taking it from 1 handmade to 50 printed, and then sort of went from there.
But it took us, 3-4 years before we got to a point where we were selling enough that we could support like a wage for like one of us. So it took us quite a while, to be fair. The plan was always to go as a proper fully fledged business. It just took us a hell of a long time. One thing I'd say we were like doing, I'd compare it to like an apprenticeship, because we didn't really know what we were doing to start with. It took us that long. We've got no background in it to sort of learn how to manufacture clothes, how you market them, got the whole process. And
I think when we sort of had a bit of like a, not epiphany, but like the penny dropped a little bit that we could sell clothing at scale, was when it was one of the One Direction girlfriends at the time had one of our vests, wore it on X Factor. When she tweeted it to like 1 million followers, which when Twitter first started, that was insane that she had that many followers.
Amazing.
And we sold maybe like 20 vests, and we were, at the time we were like, that was unbelievable. And then 2 DJs in Australia wore it.
Because I remember, two twin DJs, I don't even know who, weren't that famous. I think they were famous in Australia. And remember, because it was in Australia, they're ahead of us. They posted overnight. We woke up in the morning and we had like 8 sales on our phone.
Went off.
That went off.
Biggest day of the time, wasn't it? I couldn't believe.
8 vests. We all make mixtapes, and we were like, right, we're set now. That's it. 3 or 4.
Amazing.
We were like dancing when we got. It's in the sales from last night.
Amazing.
I think that was seeing that social media was at the beginning of its sort of like bubble and bursting, and we luckily started at the same time, so we got a lot of sort of positives from social media when it was free.
Organic,
organic influencers were doing things for free. They didn't know their value on what they could do for a brand, and that accelerated us to a point. I think like maybe 3 years in, we had more followers than people like Pretty Little Thing, I think, and Misguided and stuff, because we had a real uplift at the beginning. And it's obviously a lot harder now that everyone knows to get bigger followings and stuff, but I remember those sort of moments were like eye-openers.
So following on from that, was there a pivotal point where you think you were established as a brand?
I think the key bit that sort of was the not roll of the dice, but the point where it changed for us was when we changed from 3 or 4 hashtags to 3 or 4. We had a complete rebrand in terms of the logo, everything. We were sort of a slogan-based brand that started to try and sell their logo because we wanted to be a brand, but we hadn't even thought about what the brand was at the time. So we were selling a logo that didn't make sense, a brand name that didn't make sense. So we sat down and we're like, right, if we're going to make this work, we need to obviously make some money, but we need to think about what this brand is going to look like. The logo is going to look like, what our message is, what our meanings are. And I think that was it. It was about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Maybe. It took us a while to decide on it. I think we decided on a different logo, and I think I had a bad dream, and I said to David, "This is an omen." And last minute, we'd approved the other logo and the whole concept, and then last minute we changed it to what it is now.
Sorry, Andrew.
But that was quite a big moment, wasn't it? And alongside, around about the same time, I'd say as well, was when we started really pushing the digital marketing side. So before that point, Facebook advertising had just come about. This was about 2.5, 3 years ago again now. We just started to use the platform and then seeing how powerful it was. And we wouldn't be able to grow sales to the way it is today without doing that. So I'd say that was a pretty key point. We never really paid for much marketing before. We never really had a budget.
Right.
But sort of learning that, and then from that point really, that's when online sales started really to grow.
Amazing. So you've been going for 6 years now? So what would you say is your highlight throughout those 6 years?
For me, probably would be, it's actually last year, we sort of we got into Nordstrom, which is one of the biggest retailers in the States. One of our goals from the very start was always to I'd love to sell this into America. That's where a lot of the ideas came from originally, because at the time we were doing sort of yearly trips to America. We did 66. That's where we got a lot of influences from.
It was very bright coloured clothing, blue vest, yellow writing, that it always came from America, being sunny, slogans, having a good time, travel, wanderlust was one of our slogans. So America was the focus, wasn't it, and the sort of muse of the brand at the time. So when we got stocked on Nordstrom this year, it's one of the big bucket list things for free.
It's like pinch moment after remember when we
that's
said
amazing.
like look to break, and I was like take broke America. Well, actually got into one of the biggest retailers there.
Yeah. Well, by anyone's standards, that's amazing, isn't it? So.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the biggest highlights, wasn't it?
Yeah, same for me.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Have there been any obstacles on the way?
There's been tons of obstacles along the way. I mean, first one that always jumps out to me is when we were delivering our clothes to our first big UK retailer, Arc, and we were loading our stock from the third floor of the office. Had a van parked under the yellow lines. It was raining. We were loading it up into the van. Started driving the van away, and we thought, oh, we'd better check that we put all the boxes in there. Opened the van, and as we were loading them, someone from a pub across the road was just taking them back out, stealing it.
Yeah, we didn't realise until, I don't know, when did we realise? Just before we packed it up?
I don't know, but it was like the thought process of like, what do you do when you can't deliver to a retailer, etc. Like that sort of stuff. We were just like, we don't know what do you do. Stock's been lost, we've paid for it, lost money at the time. It was only a few boxes, but
the time before it was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out to be, but
the obviously the biggest one, which was on the news and stuff, was the fire last year. What was it, about a year and a half ago, August last year, the fire happened when our warehouse burnt down completely. We used a third party logistics company, and the lights in the ceiling caught fire. I think it was the lights, wasn't it?
yeah,
Electrical fault, and then all our stock went. It was about 6 weeks before our autumn winter stock was coming in, so we had about 6 to 8 week period where we had no clothing to sell.
coming up to the busiest period of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you were on holiday at the time, weren't you?
Yeah,
Ibiza.
I was on holiday.
I got a call, and it was a Sunday morning. It's the warehouse manager saying there's been a fire at the warehouse. There's potential that some of your stock's been damaged. I was like, okay, that's not great, but let me know when you find out. Start the phone call. I thought, I'm not going to tell David because I don't know. He's on holiday, don't want to ruin it, don't know how big it is. Flicking through, see on BBC News, fire in Essex. I'm like, hang on a minute, that's where our warehouse is.
Yeah.
There was pictures on there and it was just like dust. I was like, there's no way, nothing survived from that. And then a couple of hours later, I was like, yeah, pretty much everything's been destroyed. But I was like, a realisation, I think I even said to girlfriend, like, I think that's it, because we've got no stock. We were insured, but anyone who's gone through an insurance process knows that you don't really get paid out very quickly.
No.
So it took 6 months actually to get any of the money back.
Yeah.
And then trying to run a clothing brand without any clothes, still bills to be paid. No one really cares too much. While some people really helped us.
Yeah, some people did.
We
I think we were back live the website within 3 days. We started the idea of going back to doing some custom prints off the shelf like we did when we first started. We're selling old samples out of the little office we had in Manchester. Sold everything we had, any old clothing from shoots and stuff. Customers were happy to take what we'd given, really, weren't they? So I have to thank customers for that. But we're back running within 6 weeks fully, I think. But that period, we both thought it was all over. Thought like 5 years of work was finished.
Well, it's amazing that you've overcome that.
Yeah, and the turnaround as well. We actually did our biggest quarter ever in Q4. So going into it with no stock, to actually do the biggest 3 months we've ever done as a business. I don't really know how we did it.
Yeah, amazing.
It's one to think about.
Yeah. So since you started, has retail changed since you have? And do you got any advice for people that are looking to start out their own clothing brand?
I think it's like massively changed. I mean, there's a lot more competition. It seems like everyone wants to sort of start a fashion brand these days.
Yeah.
It seems quite cool and trendy. I'd say when we started, the digital marketing side hadn't really kicked off like the advances in that. It's good in a way that we started the social media revolution in a way where the organic stuff was starting to pick up.
Yeah.
We benefited from that, but I think anyone starting now has got so many tools at their disposal. So in terms of the marketing, if you actually study the amount of targeting you can do, especially with stuff like Facebook, Snapchat's coming, it's scary.
Yeah.
So I would say anyone starting now really needs to study the digital marketing side, and then probably the advice would be sort of patience. I think when I speak to a lot of people who start brands now, they want to like sort of go from 0 to 100 like within a year. But like our story would say like we've been doing it 6 years.
Yeah, takes time.
Took us 4 years to get any kind of level whatsoever. It takes a little while to build a brand. So that's what my advice would be: to be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with what Sean says.
Yeah. So what does 2019 hold for 304?
2019 is going to be our biggest year in terms of product. We've just got ourselves to be a forward order brand, so our wholesale is going to be a lot bigger than we've had in previous years. And the biggest thing for me was the going back to the custom style and designs and stuff. So, like I said earlier, we used to print on demand on clothing. We've got our studio now where we are today, and we're going to start printing in-house again designs on a 2-week basis. Every Tuesday we're going to be launching a whole new custom range where it's printed in-house. It's limited range, and it's, I think it's 3 weeks away from our first one. So I won't say too much, but yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Take it back to the roots.
Yeah.
Pretty much, isn't it?
It feels like why we started, wasn't it? Like sort of like authentic, limited edition concepts, really.
That sounds all very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments any other subjects that you want us to cover in the next few podcasts.